Her father's voice cut through the marble hall like a blade. "Choose, Emma. One of these women will be your new mother." 5 elegant ladies stood in diamonds and silk, yet her small, trembling hand pointed to the quiet woman in the back, the one in the faded uniform holding a mop. The millionaire's jaw tightened. The air inside the mansion was heavy with perfume and tension. Gold chandeliers bathed the room in a warm light, but it could not soften the cold command in Richard Hale's eyes. The billionaire, a man who had conquered markets and crushed rivals, now faced the one battle he could not control: his daughter's loneliness. Emma, only 9, stood barefoot on the Persian rug, her curls framing a face too young for such a decision. Before her, 5 women in glittering gowns smiled as if on stage. Richard had chosen them himself, wealthy, connected, and each eager to step into the role of wife to one of the richest men in the city. "Choose," he said again. The command was calm, but it carried the weight of expectation. Emma's gaze drifted past the sparkling gowns, past the painted smiles, to the shadow at the far corner. There stood Rosa, the housekeeper. She was dressed in simple black, her hands worn from years of scrubbing floors, her posture humble yet unbowed. She had no diamonds, no perfume, only the quiet warmth in her eyes whenever she looked at Emma. Her small hand lifted, trembling. She pointed, not to silk or pearls, but to Rosa. The room froze. One of the women laughed a soft laugh, thinking it a child's joke. Richard's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Rosa had been in the mansion for only a year, but she had been there in the moments that mattered most. She was there the night Emma woke from nightmares about her late mother. She was there when Emma's asthma attacks left her gasping in the dark, her hand always steady, her voice always gentle. She never sought praise, never asked for more than the simple wage she earned. Her past was quiet, almost invisible until one looked closer. She had raised 3 younger siblings after their parents' passing, working double shifts, giving up school so they could finish theirs. She had cared for others so long she had forgotten what it meant to be cared for. Richard prided himself on strength, on appearances, on winning. But Emma's choice unsettled him. It wasn't that Rosa was unworthy, it was that she was unseen. In Richard's world, worth was measured in assets, not kindness. The silence stretched. The women in gowns shifted uncomfortably. A few of the household staff lingered by the doorway, pretending not to watch. Emma spoke softly, her voice steady despite her father's stare. "She's the only one who tucks me in." It was a simple truth, and it cut deeper than any argument could. Where are you watching from today? Share your thoughts, and if you believe in stories that honor silent strength, make sure to subscribe for more. That night, Richard found himself awake long after midnight. He walked the halls and remembered his late wife, how she had been nothing like the women he had gathered in the room earlier. She too had been a stranger once, not from his world of wealth, but from a small town with calloused hands and an unshakable smile. The next morning, the 5 glamorous candidates were gone. Only Rosa remained, cleaning the silver in the dining room. Richard approached her, his voice quieter than Emma had ever heard. "She trusts you more than anyone, and I think she's right." Rosa didn't answer. She simply nodded, her eyes glistening. Weeks later, at a charity gala, Richard arrived with Emma and Rosa by his side, not as staff, but as family. The same society that once would have whispered now stood in polite silence, watching the little girl cling to Rosa's hand. True wealth, Richard would later say to a journalist, is measured in the people who will sit by your bed when you can't breathe and who will stand by you when no one else will. Some victories are not won in boardrooms or battles, but in the quiet moments when someone chooses love over status. In a world that measures worth in gold, may we remember, sometimes the richest heart belongs to the one who owns the least.